Good morning and welcome to Cover 2 Cook. We are on episode 52. We're going to be recapping the NFL Sunday football, the two Monday night football games. We're going to talk about what's upcoming with the Thursday night game and a Friday college football playoff game. And then we also got to talk about what is upcoming as well this weekend because you got college football and NFL. So buckle up and we'll talk. Let me bring on my co-host, Mr. Tim Cook. How you doing today?
I'm doing good today. We had some pretty good games. Sunday, I was kind of hoping for a little bit closer, but they were good games. And Monday night was a doubleheader, one stinker, and the other one, okay.
Yeah, I think some teams pulled away this weekend. I think that's what we just saw. Where some of these games that we thought were going to be close, they kind of pulled away and said, hey, we're going for either a Super Bowl or we're going to win the conference or we're going to win or, just something. But I think some teams pulled away. Well, let's start it right off the bat right there with one of the must-watch games that we thought would be a little bit closer. Bills versus Lions. And I said it on the last podcast, this Lions defense, with all those injuries, is going to catch up to you. You should hear all these ESPN people. Oh, they suck. They're not going to do nothing now. Because of a couple more injuries, we all knew it was going to catch up to them. But you know what? Can't be all about the Lions. Josh Allen. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, I mean, he had an awesome game. I thought, I think the Bills came out and just smacked the Lions right in the mouth, right off the bat. I mean, next thing you know, it's 21-7 Bills. But then the Lions kind of kept coming back. That pass from Goff to Skipper, Gilligan's sidekick, Skipper, made it 21-14. Bass misses a couple, and then Cook gets the ball, and he's got a second rushing touchdown. It's 28-14. That Bills defense was all over Goff all day long, I thought. I mean, he did not have any room to breathe or anything, but he still got the ball out. The questionable call I thought was going for it with 12 minutes to go, that onside kick. I understand that your defense wasn't stopping anybody, but you got to give them a chance. I know I said in the previous podcast, he'd go for that fourth down stuff. But buddy, come on, man. I get it. You weren't stopping anybody, but give them a chance.
Well, hold on. So I was shaking my head, not about the decision. I'm shaking my head because here you go, going back to the other side of the fence. Hey, just, make a door at the fence so you can just walk through it whenever you want here. No, I understand why he did the onside with 12. It was literally the start of the fourth quarter. Right. I know why he did it. That defense wasn't stopping Josh Allen. It wasn't going to. And you needed to make it a one-possession game so that all you had to do was stop him once to get that. I get it. But at the same time, this is what I just said. The defense can't stand up. And yes, is Josh Allen playing really great and that offense is great? But the Eagles' offense looks good. The Vikings' offense looks good. The Packers' offense looks good. I think the Lions I think they're in trouble right now. I think they're in a scary situation.
Well, and now you've lost David Montgomery for an ACL. You lost two more defensive guys, and Carlton Davis. He's out for the year, and the other one broke his jaw. I mean, they're dwindling down. I don't know what they're going. I mean, they're down to their probably third stringers. I mean, that's not good. I mean, if you want home field advantage, it's not. And if they have to go on the road to Philadelphia, I don't know if they can beat them.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think the other side of the ball too. I mean, let's give the roses to Buffalo as well. I mean, what Ty Johnson? I think that was he's a running back, but had the most receiving yards. He played amazing. Shakir gets that run off the side. Josh Allen can do everything. But what I saw out of that game, and I saw it on Monday Night Countdown, they were talking about how much read option they do. It's like a little bit of a college flow into the NFL because Josh Allen can pull it and take a run, or he can hand it off. And they got the run, but that's Brady. That's what made Brady so good at the LSU and all that stuff is that read option. So I think when you look at the offense now, I don't know. I still I love to think that Buffalo is going to make a run, but now you got Patrick Mahomes down with an ankle injury. You got Lamar Jackson. He looks great still and all this, but I think it's a Buffalo on the AFC side. I think the NFC is wide open because I believe in the Eagles. And we'll talk about it a little bit after this one, but I mean, Detroit is in a very scary position right now.
Yeah, I mean, they could score the ball. I mean, Golf went off for 494 and 5 touchdowns. He is the only player in NFL history to go off and win a game with 5 interceptions and throw for 5 touchdowns and lose.
Yeah,
that's just the NFL is really weird right now. I mean, total combined 1,081 combined yards.
Yeah,
and now they got Montgomery out. I mean, that's a killer because with Gibbs and Montgomery, one can rest, and so now they may have to lean on Gibbs. And is he going to be able to do that? That's going to be tough.
Well, and I actually want to go the opposite way with this. I think Buffalo's defense looks horrible right now.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you scored 90 points in 2 games, but you've given up 78 points in 2 games as well, too.
Right.
You're not going to win games like that because there's going to be teams like Baltimore that are going to hold the possession of the ball.
Yep.
And if you can't stop it, they'll just run it down your throat and take 7 minutes off the clock. And then, oh, wait, maybe you get to the Super Bowl. And then we're going to talk about this next team, the Eagles, that literally gave Pittsburgh 2 possessions in the second half.
Yeah.
Okay? You guys can't do that. The defense has to step up because that's what LA took advantage of. And Detroit almost won this game with an awful defense because your defense isn't playing that good. It would just be shitty because Josh Allen's having the year he is.
Right. Correct.
Well, let's move on to that second game. The battle of Pennsylvania, Steelers versus Eagles. What do you think about this game?
I thought it was a AFC kind of north kind of feel to it. Yeah. They're both from Pennsylvania. They was just smacking each other. Like you said in the previous, the Steelers in the second half only had 2 possessions. Yeah. Yikes! You ain't gonna win very many games. I mean, and you're kicking field goals against Steelers. You can't keep kicking field goals. You're not gonna win. It was just more of Harris, and I think the key to the game was when they were driving down the field. The Steelers, I think it was at 17-13 at the time, and Harris fumbles that ball.
Yeah.
That was the killer because they took the ball right back down and scored, and the game was over. I mean, it was. And what we said before, that George Pickens' injury is hurting them because they can't get the ball down the field. They're going to have to depend on Harris and Warren, and that defense is going to get tired if they have to be out there on the field the whole time. So I mean, they were tired at the end. It was just, and now we've got everybody's good now in Philadelphia, right? Is all the Eagles fans okay now that we've started getting the ball to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and now everything's good. Barkley did get his carries, which at one time they were talking on this that Barkley wasn't even on the field for I think it was the third quarter. He wasn't, and they were kind of wondering if he had an injury or something. So now everything in Philadelphia is quiet now.
Well, and that's the annoying part. So I saw it on ESPN and people being like, so you had to the fans had to get involved to show this. Like that first drive, why can't you guys do that every game? Why can't that happen? That is a great defense by Pittsburgh. I'm going to say that right off the bat.
Yeah.
Why can't you do what you just did against Pittsburgh every game? It's and then you got the coach going after Jalen Carter, I think his name is. The defensive linemen, they're yelling at each other. Like, there's so much dysfunction. And it's why last year they just toppled. Like, they just crumbled. And that's why I'm saying right now, I still don't know if they're a believer. I would say right now, the only team that is definite that looks good right now is the Vikings. And I'm not just because I'm a Vikings fan.
Right.
But like the way they played last night against I think a good defense, I'm scared. I'm happy, but I would be scared if you're in the NFC right now. But yes, they dominate that. The other thing on the Pittsburgh side is TJ Watt now.
I mean, he's hurt.
Here, there's some type of injury with him.
Yeah.
Now, saying he should be good by Saturday to play, but like that can't happen because now Pittsburgh loses that end, which you were seeing with the Detroit Lions. When they lost Aiden Hutchinson, they lost their DBs at the same time because their DBs can't make plays now because there's no force getting to the quarterback. But yeah, I think Russell Wilson, I mean, I think we're kind of seeing the real Russell Wilson, and that unfortunately is just not what's going to win you a Super Bowl there.
No, he just doesn't have any receivers. I mean, and he throws that moon ball, and it's just kind of like Kyler Murray. He just throws that moon ball, and it's just so easy to be intercepted. It just, he just don't have any wide receivers to go get. I mean, they depend on Warren and Harris. And like I said, when that fumble, when he fumbled, I'm like, yeah, it's over. Because, I mean, they were driving. And it was 17-13 at the time. They scored a touchdown. This could be a totally different ball game.
Well, and then once they scored and they were up, they were like, all right, now stop us. And they just couldn't stop them.
Right.
And it was 2 runs and then a pass, and the pass would get the first down. They did say Saquon got hit on the knee, and they thought that he hurt his knee. Obviously, he said everything's good, but Gainwell got a lot of reps there. And But yeah, you just thought that one was gonna be a little bit closer too, considering. And second half, it was just like, and it was over.
Yeah, like, I mean they could pass the ball whenever they wanted to on that Steeler defense in the second half. I mean they were giving the ball to Devontae Smith. He had 11 receptions. I mean they were doing whatever they could in the second half. Yeah. They weren't down. They weren't that defense down.
Well, then that takes us to our third must-watch game that we thought another game that would be a little bit closer, and it could kind of get a little close, but the Packers versus Seahawks. Packers came out right off the bat and said, "Hey, stop," and they must have listened to Cover 2 Cook. That's the only thing I can believe. They listened to Cover 2 Cook, and they heard me go on there and say, "Run the ball." 9 out of the first 10 plays goes to Josh Jacobs. Some were passed, but 9 out of the first 10 plays go to Josh Jacobs with a touchdown at the end. Honestly, it was awful to watch. I turned it off because I was playing against a person that had Josh Jacobs, and I thought I had a chance. They go down and do that. But outside of that, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I mean, they just, like you said, they went right. I mean, they just said, "Hey, Seattle, come stop us. Stop our run, because we're just going to run it right down your throat." And they did. They smacked them. Yeah. And I mean, and then they started, after the first couple of series, they started throwing the ball a little bit. Love was throwing to Dobbs. Next thing you know, it's 14-0, and it's like, uh-oh. Seattle's in trouble. They can't stop anybody right now. And then Smith has a bad interception in the end zone again. It's like, buddy, you can't do that. And then it just was like they were just toying with him. The Packers were just toying with him. Then Geno Smith goes down. You bring in Sam Howell. That team was a totally different team with Sam Howell. There's no way they're coming back. They still are not getting the ball down the field with. They still were getting the ball with JSN, but Metcalf, which I have on my fantasy, they're not getting the ball to him. I mean, they couldn't run the ball. I mean, that defense for the Packers was stopping the run, because they knew they could, if they stopped the run, like from last week, he's not getting the ball down the field at all.
Yeah. Well, and I think third quarter was when Charbonnet finally gets that run to score a touchdown. It seemed like it was one of these things. Okay, they're going to come back. And then Green Bay went back down and just scored again. It was just one of these things where it was like, all right, it's over. I mean, it was one of these things where and if Seahawks lose Geno, which Geno's not like a standout quarterback. I don't think he is. Like, that interception in the end zone was an awful decision. Yeah. It was never going to be there. And it was one of these plays where, and we talked about it off camera, but that half these quarterbacks know where they're going to go before the play snaps.
Right.
But that's not how you read a defense. I mean, I'm not a quarterback, right? But I know that that's not what you're supposed to do. And that's what Geno did on that play. If Geno is out, supposedly he's going to be playing, but if he is out, that is going to hurt that Seahawks team. Now,
Oh, wait. What team? Hey, can I hear? I'll give you a humble break. What team's coming up?
Tied with the Rams right now. And I think
exactly.
If Geno's out, I think this now becomes the Rams division.
Right.
If Geno comes back and can play the rest of the year, I do think that they're still right neck and neck with this one.
Right.
But when he got hurt in the third quarter, I looked at my wife and I go, God damn it! Now it's the Rams division. Like, it just was one of those.
Right. Yes. I knew that. I was waiting for this to come, and I'm like, oh, am I going to say something? Because they're coming. And like I said, if Geno is hurt, but they still got. He just is. When he makes decisions, sometimes it's just like he's throwing off his back foot. He's just throwing it up there, like, please catch it. He just sometimes doesn't make very good decisions.
No, and they do, like you said, they have to get DK more involved. I mean, Jackson Smith is a great addition to be able to throw the ball to, and they have the other wide receiver or the other tight end as well, and they got Lockett. But DK got to be your go-to guy when the game's on the line. The one you go to, and it just hasn't been that way and I would say the past couple of years it hasn't been that way.
Right, and Jair Alexander wasn't even playing, and they still shut him down. I think he might have 30 yards. Yeah, it's like, what do you? I mean, you're not using him whatsoever. I'm surprised he wasn't pouting on the sideline, but it's just like, what are you guys doing? I mean, and they didn't run the ball very much. But when you get down early 14-0, now it seemed like after they got down 14-0, he just started throwing the ball.
Yeah.
Well, they totally went away from the run. They totally went passing. Well, sometimes you got to mix it in still to keep them honest, I would think.
I do agree. You got to like mix it in where it was every play was a pass play.
Right.
It wasn't just a 5-yard. It was a 15, 20-yard pass play.
Right.
All right, relax. You don't need to make it all up in one play.
No.
Well, in the rest of the NFL, we had the Chiefs beating the Browns 21-7. Patrick Mahomes does go down in this game. Sounds like he'll be fine, but Carson Wentz finishes the game for them. Bengals beat the Titans 37-27. Commanders win against the Saints 20-19 on a controversial last play. Ravens beat the Giants 35-14. Cowboys beat the Panthers 30-14. The Jets beat the Jaguars 32-25. Texans beat the Dolphins 20-12. The Denver Broncos just curb stomped the Colts 31-13. The Bills beat the Lions, like we said. The Eagles beat the Steelers. The Cardinals beat the Patriots 30-17. The Buccaneers, I mean, just beat the piss out of Chargers 40-17. Packers won. Vikings win 30-12 against the Bears. And Falcons pull the win off against the Raiders 15-9. What do you think about this weekend?
I think what things stand out, Chiefs won 21-7. Mahomes is now week to week. They said today that the high ankle sprain is not quite as bad as the one he had against, I think, Cincinnati in a playoff game a couple years ago. So that's not quite as bad. So that's a good sign. The Commanders barely win after having a double-digit lead in the third quarter. I was watching that game. I swear I thought they were going to lose it and that he barely missed the 2-point conversion by inches. You know, that was just, you know, some of the other than that, I didn't really see anything that stood out. So
well, and a lot of people now are talking about the end of that game where they get the first down. I don't think people understand that, like, in under 2 minutes in the NFL, if you get a first down, the clock does stop until the chain moves. Because a lot of people were like, well, why did they even get that last play off? The clock stopped. And it was like, that's the new rules. I'm tired of the NFL or the NFL officials on Twitter and Facebook and shit like that. Shut the hell up. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. The refs do make bad plays every once in a while, but that was not one. Yeah, and then everything's about Josh Allen. Josh Allen. What about Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, 5 touchdowns. He had 5 touchdowns in a blowout win against the Giants.
And then
I think
the other one that I got to talk about too is the Broncos. Anthony Richardson is shit, okay? Not because, I was playing fantasy and the person I was playing against had the Denver defense that scored 22 effing points, but like the Anthony Richardson is watching the play happen and just said, well, I've already made my decision up. He is notorious for it. Some of those pass plays, that out route where the pick, he throws it short and it's easily picked up. He's thinking, oh, well, we got this earlier in the game. I can just throw it again without hesitation. Well, guess what? Denver goes, you're not going to do it twice, and they pick him off. The pick 6, that was just off. And then literally they asked the wide receiver after the game about it. And he goes, oh, I did what I was supposed to do. And they're like, well, did you kind of see how your year ended right there? And he goes, playoffs? Literally makes a comment like they weren't even trying for the playoffs. It's
right.
That is a dumpster fire. And Pat McAfee, I'll tell you right now, I thought about DMing you. That's your fault. I don't know how it is, but it's your fault some way. Final thing I want to say too was Randy Moss. When Justin Jefferson caught his pass yesterday, he gave the love to Randy Moss. That was great what they did. Even when they came in, they hung his jersey for the coin toss.
Yeah,
it was one of these things where you saw the support on that one. I as a Vikings fan, that obviously touched the heartstrings.
I did want to say a couple more things. The Bengals-Titans game, I didn't think that game would ever end. Yeah. They had 64 points, 10 turnovers, 26 penalties between the two teams. Yikes. Oh, also, the running back for the Colts dropping the ball at the end before he crosses the goal line. What are you doing? Now, come on, man. You are better than that. Yeah. You're better than that. Jonathan Taylor, couldn't think of the running back. You dropped the ball right, and that was really close. I still thought it was a touchdown because I thought he had the ball across the plane. But they didn't call it that way. But that turned that game around within a second. Because shortly after that, Denver got the ball. They wouldn't, I think, kicked a field goal. And then they had that pick 6, which that linebacker, hey, dumbass, don't be grabbing your crotch while you're going across the goal line. That's so dumb. That got you a 15-yard penalty. Like it didn't hurt you, but it's just like, come on, man. You're better than that. Yeah, no, the Jonathan Taylor situation is like, when are we going to learn? Just run through. But, well, how'd you do betting this weekend? Oh, 1 and 2. I had Chiefs, or not Chiefs, Jets and Jags. The Jags getting 3 at home. They end up losing by 7. I had Houston given a 3. They won by 8. And then I had the Seahawks getting a 3. And the Packers just put a smacking right on them.
Yeah, I went actually 2-1. I ended up with Bills. I got 2.5. They win the game, so I get that one. The Cowboys +3. Hey, Cowboys fans, thank you for finally putting a little pressure on this. I didn't understand that one at all, that line. I mean, I understand the Panthers are playing better, but the Cowboys obviously have better players. And then, obviously, yes, the last one being the Seattle, giving 2.5. I thought they would give more of a competition than they did. And honestly, when Green Bay went down there and just punched them in the mouth, it was like, yeah, that bet ain't going to hit.
Yeah.
Well, that takes us to Thursday Night Football and what's upcoming. Thursday night, great game ahead of us. Broncos versus Chargers. You know, we just said Broncos defense stepped up while Chargers got curb stomped by the Buccaneers. I think that's more the storyline in this one. The way Chargers they just laid down against the Buccaneers. I think this Herbert ankle injury is a lot worse than what we're kind of hearing about, because you could kind of see when he got rolled up on one of them, he hobbled away off a little bit. That one I think is if the Denver defense can get after him, it might be a quick game.
Yeah, I think too. Also, with that ankle, I don't think he's being able to push because it's on his right ankle.
Yep.
Right. So he's not. I don't think his balls are sailing on him. Yep. So I don't think he's got enough to push off to throw the ball down the field. I think that's affected him, and I think the injury to J.K. Dobbins is also hurting him as well. Yep. But their defense got lit up against Baker. I was really shocked. I figured that they would come a little bit better prepared. And Baker Baker had to earn every point he got. But there was a couple plays like the one pass to Evans where they almost had him out of bounds and they didn't get him out of bounds. And he's running down the sideline for a touchdown. It's like, this is the second game in like 2 or 3 weeks that they've given up a 40 burger. Yeah. I think they give up 40 to Cincinnati a couple weeks ago. So, when they're right. When they played against the defense played against Atlanta. But now we're seeing that maybe Atlanta isn't quite as good as we thought they were.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And they're going to have to get after Bo Nix. They're going to have to make him make bad decisions. But the biggest storyline of that game is the way Bucky Irving and Rachaad White was able to run against the Chargers. That is hardballs. You're not going to run the ball on us. You're not going to run. And they ran the ball all over him. Don't get me wrong. Mike Evans' 2 touchdowns were just Baker Mayfield's great points. That second touchdown he threw to him when he's faking a corner route and comes back to the post, he hits him right on the dot. But Bo Nix can make those plays. We've seen it throughout the year. And he's got the wide receivers to do it. He's got the running game to do it. I think this is a must-win for the Chargers. Obviously, I don't know what the standings and all that right now are, but they got to win this game against the Broncos just to say they're relevant. Because recently, they've looked really bad. And I said that back with that J.K. Dobbins. That injury was huge. But Gus Edwards ain't running the ball like you thought he would.
Right. And I think, and also, too, right now, Denver's at the 6th seed, and the Chargers at 7. So if the Chargers can win, that bumps them back down to 7, and that moves them back up to a 6. And with a short week, that's going to be hard for Denver to go in there and beat them. But I think they can. But with that short of a week, and now that Patrick Surtain is maybe questionable with a knee injury when he got clipped on Sunday. So on a short week, are they going to want to try to rush him back to play? That's going to be a big deal to do as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if they rush him back because remember, the last time he had that concussion, that defense became a whole different defense.
Right.
And they couldn't blitz and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of say, hey, this is a must-win kind of game. And then you can have an extended week off.
Right. Right, because I think they play now, as I've seen the schedule, they play the following Saturday against Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And that's one of the triple headers on that Saturday, the 29th, I think, 28th, 29th.
Well, and then speaking of that, so Friday night, we go into the college football playoffs. So, hey, you see the sign in the background. You know we're fans of it. Notre Dame versus Indiana, the highest ticket price out of all of them. That is so surprising to me because you would think with the Ohio State fans and all this, they don't have – no, Notre Dame has the highest ticket price. Last time I saw was $700. $38 for a shitty ass ticket.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you right now, I will not be at the game. I looked at prices, bought a house, ain't happening. Gambling didn't win that good for me. But Notre Dame has to keep that running attack going against this Indiana defense. Indiana struggled against Michigan and Ohio State, which now, how good are those teams? Because Michigan looks better since they beat Ohio State, but Ohio State beat the shit out of Indiana, and they got beat by Michigan. So is Indiana for real? They'll have to show it this week. They get kind of healthy while Notre Dame's defense still has a couple injuries that kind of scare me a little bit. I think Watts is hurt, which is Xavier Watts, I think is his name. He's a player, huge player for them. But what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I mean, this is a clash of in-state rivals. Yep. Notre Dame's on a 10-game winning streak, and Indiana has one of the most potent offenses in the nation. The last time these two teams met was in 91, which I didn't even know they even played in 91, and at Notre Dame, and Indiana got curb stomped 49-21 or 49-27. I think the big one is, can Indiana's defense stop that three-headed monster of Love, Price, and the quarterback Leonard? If they can control that and make Leonard throw the ball down the field, because it's been proven this year, he cannot throw the ball down the field. Even as Notre Dame fans, you can watch that and go, he just can't get the ball down the field. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the big deal. Rourke is going to have to throw he's going to have to throw dimes to keep this team in it. I mean, he's got to get these receivers up and going, and throwing some. If Indiana wants even to stay in it, if Indiana gets ahead early and makes, like I said, Leonard throw the ball, have to start throwing it on third down instead of having short yardage, it could be a long day for Notre Dame. But I think Notre Dame's defense, it's the top 5 in the nation. I think they're going to make Rourke just scramble, and he's going to. I think that defense is going to put him over the top.
Well, and that's the thing. The defense is going to have to make plays. Well, we saw that at the end of the USC game, which is the last time the Notre Dame played, which feels like 6 months ago at this point. When Notre Dame played that last game, they let USC kind of stay in this game and then they started making the 101 and 99-yard interception return for touchdowns. But they have to do that in this game. They're going to shut down the run because that's Notre Dame's type of defense. They're going to keep the linebackers in the box. You're going to have to get the outside if you want to. I don't think Indiana has that, but Indiana has good wide receivers. So can Notre Dame's DBs stay with them or make a play on the ball when the ball gets thrown? At the other side of it, I agree, the Leonard. But I was reading up on doing a little inside scouting. I was reading on the Indiana Post talking about how they want to shut down Leonard. They want to make sure he has to hand the ball off. Stop doing the quarterback runs. Stop like that. That's cool. You can do all that all you want. But then that opens the running back or opens up the game for the running backs. And then don't be surprised if I'm going to say his name wrong. Faison.
Mm-hmm.
He has a big game because now you're going to see more bubbles. If you're going to pack that box, get it out to your players and make a play out on the outside. I think Notre Dame in this game looks good. Freeman gets his contract extension now, which there was rumors that the Chicago Bears were going to bring him in to have an interview. I love Freeman. I think there's times where sometimes I'm pissed off at him because he's our coach, right? But I think Freeman can bring the recruits in. I also found this out too. Notre Dame has a very low NIL package. They are not one of these top 15 schools that has these huge NIL packages. So you're going to have to rely on your coach being the recruiter, not money.
Right.
And I think that was a huge solidify. If Notre Dame can get past them, I think this helps the recruiting. It helps everything else. But having a home game at Notre Dame, Indiana, I don't know what you're about to walk into.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely agree. It's one thing too is, I mean, that defense is going to have to get pressure on Rourke if they don't. And you don't hear too much about their running. It sounds like to me they throw the ball a lot.
Yeah.
So if they can, they got to get pressure on him and make them make them throw, get pressure on them and either sack them or throw interceptions. And I think that defense will. That front four for them is pretty good. I think Watts, the injury to Watts, I mean, he's had 3 weeks to get healthy. I mean, I think they should be fine. I think this is, I don't even, the spread is 7. I don't even know if it's even going to be that close.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't touch it, honestly. And if anything, the under on it, I would take on this.
Yeah, because the weather, I don't think they're calling snow, but it's going to be damn cold on a Friday night. I think they're talking the 20s.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is we're going to this will be like a little bit of the taste of that home field advantage and see how it is. Now, I will say, as a Notre Dame fan, it kind of does piss me off that we got Indiana to start it off because they're in state, where Tennessee's got to travel to Ohio State. Clemson's got to travel to Texas. Like, some of these places got to go states, and then here they're in the same state.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, Indiana don't got the fans like Notre Dame for that stadium. Indiana fans are not paying that $700. They wait to pay that $70 to go play against Northwestern and get paid, right? So it's not that I do feel like the advantage is in Notre Dame's way for this game. But if you're not a true Notre Dame fan, you're not sitting in the back of your stomach a little bit worried because that time of the year where Notre Dame finds a way to shit the fucking bed, and then I'm so mad, and then I got to come back on a podcast the next day and have a straight face to you fans. But
and eat crow. Yeah, I get it.
So, and I will tell you, we're traveling home this weekend. So I've already told the wife the car better be packed at 3:30. So we travel 3 hours, get home by 6:30, 7 o'clock. Nobody's eating anything on the way home, and nobody's drinking anything. Right home. You got to piss, you better bring a bottle. And that goes for both and the dog. But add to that, on Saturday, when we come back, there will be college football and NFL. We are going to put emphasis on the college football. But before we do all that, we're going to recap Thursday night and Friday night. So it's going to be a little bit longer of an episode. So I just want to warn everyone, we will give bets on Thursday. Now on Saturday, we'll give bets. When we do give those bets on Saturday, it might be college football. It might be NFL. What's just the best bets for the day? And then come back on Sunday for more betting. I'm not touching any of these games. I'm not touching Chargers versus Broncos, and I'm not touching the Notre Dame game. Because for Broncos, I'm very worried that they don't play up to their potential in this game. And and for the Notre Dame, 7 is a lot of points.
I agree. It scares me with the Broncos because it's a short week. I mean, they don't have to travel very far, but it's a short week. And I tell you another thing too is Bo Nix has been throwing a lot of interceptions lately, and that's scaring me because I can see the Chargers coming out with their defense. I mean, they're gonna be ready to go.
Yeah. Well, we recorded on Tuesday night. Remember, there is a football game on tonight, which will be the last night by the time you listen to this. There's also 2 games on Wednesday, starting at 4:30, and then Thursday night you got NFL and college football, and Friday. So we want to thank everyone. Have a great weekend. We will talk to you on Saturday for the recap of college football playoffs. Go Notre Dame, go Irish, and thank you for all the fans. Have a great day.